Hello and welcome to Polynomials 3.2, Polynomial Long Division. Okay, so today we're gonna do exactly what it says. We're gonna long divide. And you guys used to long divide back when you had other math classes, maybe you're like 5th, maybe 6th grade, yeah. And it was basically dividing bigger numbers. Okay, so when we do long division in this lesson, we're not gonna divide bigger numbers. We're just gonna divide things that have letters in them. Okay, so the concept is going to be very similar, and you're going to see and hear things that you know you've done before, and it's going to have familiarity, but it's going to be done with letters, though, so that's going to be a big difference. Okay, but as far as the thinking and the process goes, it's very similar to something that you guys learned back in another math class. Okay, so let's get started. And when we do polynomial long division, basically all your problems are going to start off looking like this. Yeah, it's going to start off looking like that, where whatever's in front of your division symbol is going to go on the inside, and whatever is in the back of your division symbol is going to go on the outside of this symbol. Okay, so x plus 4 is on the outside because he's in back of your divide symbol. Okay, and the 2x cubed plus 6x plus 152, that's going to go on the inside. Okay, so when you set this up though, okay, you want to make sure you evaluate all the terms to see if the powers are there or if they're missing. Okay, and I think we talked about this in a previous lesson a while back, but we haven't talked about it recently, so you guys might have forgotten me talking about it. But basically, like I said, when I write the numbers and the terms and the letters inside the symbol, the division symbol, I want to make sure I take into account the placement of each term. So the first guy is 2x cubed. He's the biggest power, so he's going to go in the front. And usually what comes after power of 3 is power of 2. But there is no power of 2 term in this problem. But we're still going to make a space for him. So notice how I'm going to leave us a little space. And then I'm going to write the next term, which is 6x, because that's power of 1. So basically power of 3, power of 2, which is missing, then power of 1, then power of nothing. Or basically, no, we don't have any x's in the problem anymore. So that's where your 152 is going to be. We're at the very, very end. Okay? So you want to be sure to leave the x squared blank because there's supposed to be something there, but in this particular problem, it's not there. So we're going to leave it as a blank. And I guess you can think of it as a placeholder where nothing is there, but we're going to hold its place and we're going to, pretend like it's there, but it's really not. Okay, and it's really important to take this into consideration when you set this problem up, because if you don't, it's going to lead to some mistakes that you're going to guarantee make. Okay, and it's going to lead to confusion as well. So you need to leave that space. Okay, whenever you're missing a power that belongs in your sequence. So power of 3, power of 2 is missing, then power of 1 is there, and power of 0 is there as well. Okay, so setting up your problem is very, very important. So be careful. Okay? Okay, so let's get this process started. And when you do polynomial long division, okay, the number on the outside that you want to be focusing your attention to is always your first term. So in this particular case, we're going to put all our focus on x. Okay? Because we need to turn him into whatever's on the inside. Okay, so in our round 1, our job is to turn x into 2x cubed. Okay, that's our job. We want to turn x into 2x cubed. Okay, so I think of it as kind of like, what am I missing? Because whatever I'm missing, I'm going to give it to the x, and when I give it to him, he's going to turn into 2x cubed. Okay, so if I want to turn x into 2x cubed, first of all, I need to give him a number. So since this x doesn't have a number in the very, very front, but my target is 2x cubed, well, I got to give him a 2. So I'm going to give him a 2. Okay, so I put whatever I'm going to give him right above him. Okay, so next I want to make sure he has 3 x's in total. Right now he only has 1 x in total. So if he needs to have 3 x's altogether, well, I need to give him 2 more. Okay, so therefore I'm going to give him 2 more x's. So first he needs a 2, because I want to turn x into 2x cubed, so I give him a 2. Then I give him 2 more x's. He already has 1, so if I give him 2 more, he's going to have a grand total of 3. So he's going to match what his target has. Okay, so that's kind of like what you got to do. You want to turn the very, very front number, yeah, or your front term of whatever's on the outside of your division symbol, and you want to turn them into the very, very front term of whatever's on the inside. So in this case, 2x cubed. Okay, and 2x squared is going to do that trick for us. All right, so that's the first thing you want to do in round one. So we're going to do this process a couple of times until we are done with the problem. Okay, so the next step in round one is going to be multiplication, or I guess you can call it distribution, where you're going to go 2x squared times x and 2x squared times positive 4. Okay, so if you can do this multiplication in your head via the sign, number, letter with power technique that I've been going over with you for the past couple of lessons, then you're going to be able to do this in your head pretty easily. I'm not going to say it's super easy, but it's going to at least be doable. You're going to be able to keep track of what you're supposed to write down because you're going sign, number, letter with power. Okay, so when I go 2x squared times x, that's going to be a positive answer. Okay, then I'm going to go 2 and 1 because there's a 1 in front of the x. I know it's there. I just don't see it, but I know it's there. So 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, then I have a letter x, and I have 3 x's, so 2x cubed. Okay, and then I'm going to go 2x squared times 4. So guarantee it's a positive answer. 2 and 4 make 8, and I got 2 x's, so x squared. Okay, so that's what I get when I distribute 2x squared times x and 2x squared times 4. Okay, then I'm going to draw a little line. And just like when you did long division back when you were in elementary school, you go top minus bottom. And this is where yesterday's lesson 3.1 comes into play. Okay, or I can't really say yesterday because, yeah, there's a pretty big break between 3.1 and 3.2 because we're assigning this a little bit later. Okay, so we're going to do just like we did in elementary school. We're going to subtract top and bottom. Okay, and when I showed you guys 3.1, I think problem number 2, yeah, I showed you guys to set it up this way, and then I told you guys to subtract. So I'm going to change all my bottom numbers to be the opposite because it's going to be top minus bottom. So since this first guy on the bottom is a positive, I'm going to turn him into a negative. Okay, and the second term, I need to be sure that I make him be affected by the minus sign as well. So since the second term is positive as well, he's going to turn into a negative. Okay, let me make my eraser icon smaller so I don't erase too much stuff. And let's just get rid of that plus sign. Okay, and he's going to turn into a minus sign as well. All right, so that's the first thing you want to do. Okay, you want to make sure you're going to go top minus bottom, which we just did. Okay, then you're just going to combine like terms, top and bottom, right? So 2x cubed minus 2x cubed, that pretty much cancels out. Okay, so if you're doing this the right way, okay, if you're doing this the correct way, your first term, that first column is always going to disappear. It's always going to cancel out. If that first column doesn't cancel out, then you're doing something wrong. You made a mistake. Okay, okay, then the next term, the next column. So I got nothing on the top and negative 8x squared on the bottom. So nothing and negative 8x squared, combine them, we make negative 8x squared. Okay, so round one is officially over. Okay, now we're going to start round two, and when I start round two, we're going to drop the next term in my list, which is positive 6x. So we're going to drop that down, and we're going to start round two. Okay, in round one, our target was to turn x into 2x cubed. In round two, I want to turn x into negative 8x squared. So I now have a new target. Yeah, I don't want to become 2x cubed anymore. I want to become negative 8x squared. Okay, so I want to focus all my energy into turning x into negative 8x squared. So how does that happen? Well, first of all, I need a negative. Okay, because right now this x is not negative, so I got to give him a negative. Okay, then this x needs a number, and the number he needs to become is an 8. So I'm going to give him an 8 as well. Okay, so like I said, this is kind of like going shopping. Yeah, we want to dress the x up as negative 8x squared, so I got to buy all the things that are going to turn him into negative 8x squared. Okay, so I bought a negative, so now he has a negative. I got him an 8, so now he has 8. I already have one x, but I need two x's total. Okay, I have one x, I need two x's total, so I got to get one more x. So I put an x next to negative 8 as well. Okay, so I think I have shopped for everything I need to turn x into negative 8x squared. Okay, and once I think I have everything done, then we're going to distribute negative 8x times x and negative 8x times 4. We're going to distribute. And like I said, hopefully you can do this step in your head. If you cannot, you might have to write it down on the side, which is fine. But if you can do this step in your head, that's going to help you guys out a lot. Okay, so negative 8x times x is going to be a negative, guarantee. And the 8, my numbers are going to be 8. And when I count my x's, I got 2. So negative 8x squared. Okay, and if you start to notice a pattern, hopefully you notice that these two terms, they match. Because if they match, they're going to cancel out when I change the signs with the red things, yeah, on the top, like I did in round 1. Okay, so let's go negative 8x times positive 4. So guarantee that's a negative answer. My number is going to be 32, and my letter is going to be x. Okay, so I draw my line. Then I get my red pen out because, like I said, it's always going to be top minus bottom. So when I do top minus bottom, I got to change the signs of all my bottom numbers, my bottom terms. So this negative 8x squared turns to positive 8x squared because I change it because it's top minus bottom. Okay, so this step that I'm doing right now where I'm changing my signs, this is what a lot of students forget to do. Okay, so please be very careful. And the reason why I'm changing it is because, like I said, when you do this process called long division, it's always top minus bottom. Okay, so let's change my second term, which is currently negative 32x. It's going to become positive 32x. Okay, so now that I've changed my signs, I can go back to just combining top and bottom. So when I combine top and bottom, negative 8x squared, positive 8x squared, they cancel out. And like I said, if this first column does not cancel out, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so you got to be sure that this first column cancels out all the time. All right, so then I got positive 6x and positive 32x, and that's going to make positive 38x. Okay, so round 2 is done. So now let's start round 3. So round 3 starts with dropping down the positive 152, and then I start this process all over again. So now I have a different focus. Okay, in round 1, my focus was create 2x cubed. In round 2, my focus was create negative 8x squared. In round 3, my focus is going to be turn x into 38x. Okay, and how does that happen? Well, I got to give them a 38. Well, I got to give them a positive 38, actually. So make sure you write positive 38. Okay, don't forget to write all the signs as well. Okay, so if I went and got him a 38, then he's going to turn into 38x. So now we're going to distribute 38 times x and 38 times 4. So 38 times x is 38x. And if they match, you're on the right track. Okay, and then 38 times 4 is positive 152. Okay, then I'm going to get my red pen out and I'm going to change signs. Ooh, actually, let me draw my little line here. Then I'm going to get my red pen out so I can change the signs because, like I said, it's top minus bottom. So this first guy, positive 38x, is going to turn into negative 38x. And the positive 152 is going to turn into negative 152. Okay, so like I said, if you're doing this correctly, your first column is always going to disappear, is always going to cancel out. So positive 38x, negative 38x, yep, it's gone. It cancels. Okay, but in your last round, here's what also happens in your last round. The second number is going to cancel out as well. Yeah, and then all you're going to have left is a 0. And that's how you know you've done this correctly. Yeah, you're not going to have any remainders. Yeah, I know division sometimes has remainders. But in this particular lesson, when you guys do polynomial long division, you're not going to have any remainders. It's always going to end up at 0. So your final answer for this problem is going to be 2x squared minus 8x plus 38. Okay, and that's it. Okay, problem number 1 is done. Let's go on to problem number 2. Okay, so I'm going to set it up the exact same way. I'm going to draw my division line, my division symbol rather, my long division symbol. I'm going to put 2x minus 3, whatever's after the minus sign is going to go on the outside. And whatever's in front of the divide sign is going to go on the inside. Okay, did I say it wrong the last time? I think I said minus sign. I was supposed to have said division sign, sorry. Okay, so whatever's in the front of your divide sign is going to go inside your symbol. So let's check to see if any missing powers are going to affect this problem also. So power of 3, power of 2, power of 1, power of none. So there's no powers missing. So I don't got to leave any blank spaces. So when I set up my problem, this is going to be a little bit different from problem number 1 because, like I said, nothing is missing. Yeah, and if something's missing, you leave a blank. But this problem has nothing missing, so notice how I don't have any blanks. Okay, so always take a quick inventory check to see if any powers are missing. And if any power is missing, like I said, then you want to leave a blank spot. Okay, so this time my target is turn 2x into 2x cubed. Okay, so I want to go shopping basically. Yeah, I want to turn 2x into 2x cubed. So I already have a 2, and my target is 2, so therefore I don't need any numbers because my current number is 2, my target number is 2, so nothing is necessary. Okay, as far as letters now, I got an x, but my target has 3 x's. Okay, I have a single x, but I want a total of 3 x's. So if I want a total of 3 x's, well, I don't have enough, so I better get more. So if I already have 1, and I want to have 3 in total, well, I better go and get 2 more. So x squared is what I got to go and buy. Okay? Like I said, think of it like shopping, where you want to turn yourself into 2x cubed. I already got the 2, so that's good to go. I got a single x, but I need a total of 3. So I got to get 2 more. So that's why I put x squared. Okay? And once I have bought enough stuff to turn me into 2x cubed, then I just do distribution. So I go x squared times 2x and x squared times negative 3. Okay, so x squared times 2x is going to be 2x cubed. And x squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. Okay, so I wrote my numbers right beneath the appropriate column because I want to match them up with like terms. Keep that in mind, yeah? When you write out your next set of numbers, you want to be sure to line up the correct like terms. Okay, then I'm going to change everybody into their opposite because it's top minus bottom. So I want to change everybody into the opposite. That's why I got the red pen out. Okay, so positive 2x cubed turns into negative 2x cubed. And negative 3x squared turns into positive 3x squared. Okay, so that step is super important, so don't forget about that step. Okay, and then I just add top and bottom. I just combine. So 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is going to cancel out. So if this doesn't cancel out, you know you're doing something wrong. That first column always cancels out. Okay, and then I got 5x squared, and I got 3x squared, and that's going to make 8x squared. Okay, so round 1 is officially done. So to start round 2, I drop the next number, which is negative 2x, or the next term rather, which is negative 2x. So now, like I said, we're going to start round 2. We have a brand new target. Now my target is to turn myself into 8x squared. Okay, I'm currently 2x, but I want to become 8x squared. Okay, so I got to make sure I put a plus or minus sign. So always be sure to put plus or minus signs between your terms. So since I'm currently a positive and I want to stay a positive, you put a positive sign. Okay, I'm currently a 2, but I want to turn into a 4. So how does a 2 turn into a 4? I'm sorry. How does a 2 turn into an 8? I'm kind of like saying the answer that I want to have. Okay, how does a 2 turn into an 8? Well, I need a 4. I'm going to multiply by 4, and then that turns me into an 8. Okay, so a lot of kids, when they make a mistake, they think it's a 6 because the way I say it, how does a 2 turn into an 8? You think, oh yeah, just add 6. No, we're multiplying here. Okay, so how do you turn a 2 into an 8 via multiplication? Well, you got to multiply by 4. Okay, and then my letters. I currently have a single x, but I want to have a total of 2 x's, so I got to get one more x. And if I give myself one more x, now I have 2. So that's my target, 2 x's. Okay, so now I got 4x as what I needed to buy to turn myself into 8x squared. So I'm going to multiply 4x times 2x, and that's 8x squared. And 4x times negative 3, which is negative 12x. Okay, so then I'm going to change it to the red pen because I'm going to change my signs, right? Everybody's going to become their opposite. So positive 8x squared turns into negative 8x squared. Negative 12x turns into positive 12x. So this is a super important step. A lot of kids, they forget to do this. And that's why I put it in a different color so it stands out. Okay, so if you want to take notes on your paper as well, you might want to change colors as well so it stands out. Okay, so let's just add top and bottom. So this first column, like I said, this first column always cancels out. If this first column does not cancel out, you're doing something wrong. Okay, okay, and then negative 2x and positive 12x, that makes positive 10x. Okay, so round 2 is officially done. So let's drop my next term, and round 3 is about to officially begin. So negative 15x, put it right after the 10x. So in round 3, I have a brand new target. Now I want to become 10x. Okay, so I'm gonna need to remain a positive, right? Because it's currently positive 2. I want to become positive 10. So I gotta make sure I stay positive. So I put a plus sign. Then how does a 2 turn into a 10 via multiplication? 2 turn into 10 via multiplication is multiplied by 5. Okay, and then as far as letters, my target has 1x. I currently have 1x. So I don't need any more x's because I got enough, right? My target has 1x. I have 1x, so I don't need any more. Okay, like I said, think of this as shopping. Whatever I need, I gotta go and get it. Okay, so now I got my number correct on the top, which is a 5. I'm going to distribute 5 times 2x, which makes 10x, and 5 times negative 3, which is negative 15. Okay, and I'm going to get my red pen out, and I'm going to change the bottom terms into its opposite. So positive 10x turns into negative 10x. Negative 15 turns into positive 15. Okay, so I turned everything in the second row into the opposite numbers. And now I just combine top and bottom. So 10x minus 10x. And like I said, this first column, what? It better cancel out. If this first column does not cancel out, you're doing something wrong. Okay? And what also happens in your final round of polynomial long division is you're going to notice everything disappears. Okay, so we were nice. When we made the problems for this lesson, we made sure when you reach your final round, everything's going to cancel out and you're going to get a 0. So if you find yourself not getting a 0 in your final round of polynomial long division, you know you made a mistake because, like I said, we purposely made every single problem end up with a 0. Okay, we don't leave you guys any remainders for any of the problems on this homework tonight. Okay, everything's going to be a 0 when it all ends. So if you're not getting a 0, like I said, you're doing something wrong. So make sure you check your work. All right? So this final answer is x squared plus 4x plus 5. Okay? All right, I think one last problem. Okay, so there's nothing different. It just looks a little bit scarier, this problem. Okay? But don't worry about how scary it looks. It's going to be treated the exact same way. The process that I run is the exact same process. Okay? So whatever's after the divide sign is going to go outside your symbol. So x squared minus 4x plus 2. And whatever's in the front of your symbol is going to go inside. So just be sure to check to see if any terms are missing. So I got power of 4, then it goes power of 3, then it should be power of 2 next, which is currently missing. So therefore, I got to address that issue. Yeah, so if there's a power that's missing, I got to leave a blank when I set up my problem. So 3x to the 4th power minus 13x to the 3rd power. And then I have a blank for x squared because he's missing. Then I followed up with positive 38x and then negative 20. So I leave a blank for x squared. If you don't leave that blank, trust me, you're going to make a mistake. It happens every year. Okay? So x squared is going to be what I want to use to turn into everybody on the inside. So x squared is my very, very front term, and he's going to turn into whatever's on the inside. So in round 1, x squared needs to turn into 3x to the 4th power. Okay, so first of all, he's going to need a number. So he's going to need a 3. So I'm going to give him a 3. Okay, my target has 4 x's. I currently only have 2 x's. So how many more do I need, right? I got my target. He has 4 x's. I currently have 2 x's. So I need to have 2 more. Because like I said, right, it's like shopping. Whatever your target has, I want to get that exact same amount. So if my target has 4 x's, well, I want 4 x's also. So I got to go and get 2 more because I currently have 2. Okay, so Once I have everything I need to turn myself into my target number on the inside, I go and I distribute, except this is going to be a little bit more intense because now I got to distribute to 3 things, not 2 things like the previous 2 problems. Okay, so there's going to be more calculations, more multiplication as well, but the process remains the same. Okay, so 3x squared times x squared is 3x to the 4th power. Okay, 3x squared times negative 4x, that's going to be a negative. 3 and 4 make 12. X squared and x make x to the 3rd power. Okay, and usually this is where we're ending, yeah, as far as distribution, but we have a third number, we have a positive 2. So 3x squared times positive 2. So that's going to make a positive. 3 and 2 makes 6, and then I got x squared. Okay, and that's why we need to leave a space for missing terms, because if I didn't leave a space for the x squared, I wouldn't know who to line this guy up with. Okay, that's why there's a space that's necessary, because if you don't leave a space, a lot of kids, they put 6x squared underneath 38x, and they're not like terms, and that's where they start going wrong. Okay, that's why you have to leave that space. Okay, so I'm going to get my red pen out because everybody's going to become their opposite in the second row. So this is going to become a negative, this is going to become a positive, and that last guy is going to become a negative, so I got to erase that plus sign. So turn him into a negative. Okay, so this is an important step also. A lot of kids forget this step when they make a mistake. Okay, so just like usual, our first column, it better disappear, right? 3x to the 4th power minus 3x to the 4th power, it cancels. That has to happen. If that doesn't happen, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so negative 13, positive 12, that makes negative 1 x cubed. And then nothing in negative 6x squared is negative 6x squared. So round 1 is done. Let's start round 2. So round 2 begins by dropping your next term. So positive 38x. Okay, so now my target is negative 1x cubed. That's my target. So I'm going to need a negative. I'm going to need a 1. Well, I already have a 1, but I'm just going to write the 1 there anyway. So I know I took into account the sign. I mean the number rather. Okay. My target has 3 x's. I currently only have 2 x's, so I need 1 more. Okay, so now I match. I have everything I need to turn myself into negative 1x cubed. So let's distribute. Negative 1x times x squared is negative 1x cubed. Negative 1x times negative 4x is positive 4x squared. And negative 1x times positive 2 is negative 2x. Okay, so draw my line, get my red pen out, and let's change all my second row numbers into the opposite. So this is going to become positive. This next guy is going to also become positive, but I got to erase that minus sign. I'm sorry, that plus sign and put minus there. And this negative 2 is going to become positive 2. Okay, so change back to blue pen. And let's just combine top and bottom. So first column, like I said many times already, it's going to cancel out. If this first column doesn't cancel out, you're doing something wrong. Okay, then negative 6x squared, negative 4x squared, that makes negative 10x squared. Okay, and 38x, 2x, that makes positive 40x. Okay, so round 2 is officially done. So let's start round 3, our final round. Let's drop my last number, negative 20. And my new target is negative 10x squared. So let's see, what do I got to go out and buy? I got to buy a negative. I got to get a 10. And my target has 2 x's, but I currently have 2 x's. So I don't need any more, right? All I needed was a negative 10. So now I'm going to go negative 10 times x squared, right? I multiply whatever's on that top, negative 10, to whatever's on the outside. Yeah, my x squared, negative 4x, positive 2. So I'm going to get negative 10x squared when I distribute. Then I'm going to get positive 40x. And then I'm going to get negative 20. Okay, so I'm going to distribute, right? Then I draw my line, I get my red pen out, and turn everybody into the opposite. So negative turns to positive. The second term, positive turns into negative. And negative 20 turns into positive 20. Okay, so let's combine top and bottom. So this first column, like I said, it's going to cancel. Yeah? And since we're in the last round, you're going to notice that everybody cancels. So in your last round on tonight's homework, if everybody doesn't cancel, like I said, you're doing something wrong. Okay? If everything doesn't cancel, you're doing something wrong. So please be aware of that. Okay? And you're gonna get a 0 because everything cancels. If you're not getting a 0, like I said, you're doing something wrong. So go back and figure out what your mistake is. Okay? So your final answer for this problem is 3x squared minus, you can say 1x or you can say minus x. That's the same thing. And then minus 10. Okay? And I think it's done. Let me just check to be safe. Yep, the next problem is your homework. So we are done. I hope this made sense. I know this video was on the longer side for just 3 problems, but hopefully I went over enough in detail where I covered all the issues that you're going to face on this assignment. Okay, but good luck, and I will see you in class. Bye-bye.